right, everybody, thanks for joining me. My name is Jeff Coulard, and I'm here because I really love helping people change. I do a lot of workshops and I do a lot of public speaking on a variety of topics, lately mostly around sugar and sugar addiction. And so this webinar, as you know, is a little bit about that. It's a little bit about what you really need to be doing before you change, before you try and bite off a lifestyle change of some kind. So we're going to walk through that over the next hour or so. Might be a little bit faster, might take a little bit longer, but we're going to aim for about an hour. A little bit more about me. I've been working with young addicts for the last 10 years through my work with Enviro's Wilderness School, which is a nonprofit in Calgary that works with families and youth at risk in a wide range of capacities. My job is program manager at a remote wilderness-based drug treatment facility. So I've been doing that for about the last 10 years or so. I was also diagnosed with diabetes a couple years ago. I guess it's coming up 4 or 5 years now. And that's certainly something that has led me down this path of wanting to help other people avoid that diabetes diagnosis, and really, more than that, help people live fuller, healthier lives and get rid of the sugar addiction. I also happen to drive a truck on vegetable oil. This is used French fry oil that I get from the restaurants here in Cochrane, and it really has nothing to do with this workshop, but it's interesting. A couple of things that you can expect today. We're going to talk about 3 things specifically that I think are really important to do before you embark on a lifestyle change. We're going to talk about why information doesn't actually matter that much, and why the problem isn't the problem. And we're going to talk a little bit about why goal setting doesn't work, and maybe what you can do instead of setting goals. So let's get going. So really, information, of course, matters for a certain things that you want to do when you want to set yourself up to change something. You need to know what and how to change. That doesn't make a lot of sense. The difference between information and awareness. So I like this quote, and it's particularly pertinent for anyone who's gone and Googled something. Getting information off the internet is like taking a drink from a fire hydrant. There's just so much information out there, and oftentimes it's totally polar opposite of each other. So getting really good information is a real challenge sometimes. And so I took and Googled a little search the other day. Just lifestyle change, I think was what I put in, and 181 million hits. Obviously, you're not going to look past the first page, and so out of that 181 million, only 10 become relevant, and we want to make sure that the 10 that we're looking at are actually good pieces of information. So there's lots of issues with all the information that's out there. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if we know and get more information about these things. So, I use the example of smoking. Do we need to know that smoking is bad for us? I mean, we kind of know that already. We also know we shouldn't eat crappy processed food. We also know we should exercise more, we should sleep more, and we should work less. At a certain point, more information doesn't actually help us change anything. I'm not sure if a study comes out that says broccoli is better for you than French fries or chips or soda. That's actually going to help anybody change anything. And so part of what I've brought to my approach to this topic is that we kind of know already that sugar is bad for us in a lot of different ways. And so I don't actually get into that very much with people. And I'm certainly not going to get into it tonight because we don't need more information. We have enough. There's lots of information out there, both academic literature and also just personal experience. We know we feel crappy after we've eaten crappy food. And so just the information that we get ourselves from our life experience is usually enough to point us in the direction of the change that we should be making. So more information doesn't help us change. What it does help us change, so this is a model, a stages of change model by these 2 guys, Prochaska and DiClemente, that we use quite a bit in the addictions world. And it's kind of a 5-step model to making changes and different stages of change. So we'll walk through the model a little bit with you here just so you kind of know the language that I'm going to be using. So the first stage up here, this pre-contemplation idea, this is the not thinking about, or you've totally rejected change. So you maybe that's where you actually need information. You don't know that your lifestyle is bad for you. Certainly when you can think of a few examples, cigarettes is a great example of, doctors used to smoke. Some doctors still do smoke, but it wasn't, You could smoke on university campuses. You could smoke pretty much on airplanes. You could smoke wherever you wanted. So society at large was pre-contemplative, not thinking about the need to change smoking. Eventually, you get a piece of information. You start to get some studies come out. You start to see the link between lung cancer and smoking, and society starts moving towards contemplation, which is this thinking and talking about change. After contemplating a change, either kind of decide one way or the other. Most people often sit in this contemplation place for quite a while before they might maybe take the step into planning or fall back into pre-contemplation, and you've kind of rejected wanting to change or needing to change. But if you do move forward and you kind of have your eyes set on change, the next step is planning. And this is the step that we're going to spend most of our time on tonight, because it's the step that people do the worst. And I know that I've done the worst over the years, often jumping from contemplation, making a decision that I wanted to make a change, and then jumping right into action. And this is a pretty common step. And it's something that I think people would do well to slow down and spend a little bit more time planning. So that's where we're going to spend most of our time today. After planning, people start taking positive steps, they take action, and hopefully get their way to maintenance, where you've achieved positive and concrete developments. And you can potentially continue that with very little support, and you're living out of harm's way. So you're no longer relapsing, you're no longer eating sugar or not exercising, or whatever life change you're looking to make. So as I said, we're going to spend most of our time talking about planning tonight, because that's, I think, what people do the worst. We're going to stop this broadcast.